We had been together for 5 years. 5 years, and Liam chose to betray me on national television, joining a reality dating show with Isabel, a scholarship student my family had been sponsoring for years. The show had barely premiered when he posted a photo of them on his social media, a blatant declaration of their manufactured romance. The caption read, "If it weren't for this show, I don't know where I would have ever found you." I liked the post. It was deleted seconds later. My phone rang. It was Liam, his manager's voice a low murmur in the background. His own tone was sharp with impatience. "This is just part of my job, Chloe. It's all scripted. Can you stop being so dramatic? Are you trying to ruin my career?" Not long after, Isabel pinned a new photo to the top of her own social media feed, a picture of her and Liam, locked in a kiss. The old me would have erupted. I would have screamed at Liam, confronted Isabel, and burned both their worlds to the ground. But now? Now, I felt nothing at all. The moment filming wrapped for the day, Liam came home. I was in the living room, carefully packing away a set of exquisite teaware. Yesterday was the day I was supposed to introduce him to my parents. We waited at the restaurant from dusk until the city lights glittered outside, my parents' patience wearing thin until they finally left in a huff. Liam never showed. Instead, I saw his name trending on social media, the star of a new dating show. The betrayal was a cold, sharp thing in my chest. Before I could even voice my hurt, he started in on me. "Is this the gift you prepared? This cheap little tea set?" He sneered, picking up one of the delicate porcelain cups and examining it with open contempt before setting it down. He looked at me, a mocking smile playing on his lips. "It's so tacky." The old me would have smacked him on the head and lectured him on his ignorance, passionately defending the craftsmanship of the master artisan who had created the set. But now, I felt like I was looking at a stranger. The man I knew was gone, replaced by this cruel, dismissive imposter. I had no desire to argue. My family is wealthy. As their only daughter, my parents have always had high standards for any man I dated. I knew they would be skeptical of Liam, an actor struggling on the fringes of the entertainment industry. I had never told him about my family's fortune, afraid it would burden him, that it would change things between us. That tea set was my peace offering. It was my desperate attempt to show my parents our sincerity, to convince them to accept the man I loved. But Liam never showed up. And despite all my excuses, my parents saw him for what he was. I was meticulously planning our future, but it seemed I was never a part of his. Seeing my silence, Liam knew I was angry. He softened his tone, his voice dropping into the familiar, placating cadence I knew so well. "Chloe, my career isn't where I want it to be. I couldn't refuse this show. I'm doing all of this to earn money for us, to give you a good life. Nobody loves you more than I do. We'll reschedule with your parents." He always said he was doing it for me. Once, those words would have moved me to tears. Now, they were just empty sounds. "I have a surprise for you," he said, shifting tactics. "A private fireworks show, right by the river." The classic Liam maneuver, a slap in the face, followed by a piece of candy. I wanted to refuse, but he didn't give me the chance, pulling me out the door before I could protest. We stood by the riverbank, the cool night air a balm on my skin. But before the first fuse could be lit, his phone rang. He stepped away to take the call. "Liam, honey, aren't you going to film the fireworks for me?" The cloying, saccharine voice belonged to Isabel. It scraped against my eardrums. Liam's voice immediately softened, taking on a gentle, coaxing tone as he reassured her. A rebellious impulse surged through me. I stalked over to the fireworks, determined to light them myself, to deny him the chance to capture the moment for her. "What do you think you're doing?" Liam's voice was a furious roar. My hand trembled, and the lighter flared. The fuse caught. I didn't move away fast enough. The fireworks spit and hissed, catching the edge of my hand. A searing, white-hot pain shot up my arm. "SSS." I hissed, cradling my injured hand. "Who told you to light that?" I hadn't even taken a picture for Isabel yet. And then he was gone. He turned and walked away, without a backward glance, without a moment's hesitation. I screamed his name, my voice raw and desperate, praying he would turn around, see my injury, and show a flicker of the man I used to know. If he had, I would have forgiven him everything. He didn't. My pain, my plea, was utterly insignificant in his world. I went to the hospital alone, the sterile white bandages a stark reminder of my solitude. When I finally returned home, the apartment was empty. He was gone. On the table sat a small box containing a bracelet, a note tucked beneath it. A gift for you. I bought it while we were filming the show. The next episode had already aired. I watched their group introduction, the way Liam and Isabel stood so close, their casual intimacy a knife in my gut. And then I saw it, an identical bracelet dangling from Isabel's wrist. I stared at it, my mind racing, desperately trying to find an excuse for him. But there was no escaping the truth. Mine was a fake. The old me would have been thrilled to receive any gift from him, real or fake. But now, this cheap imitation felt like a calculated insult. Message, see? I still think of you, even with these little things. You wouldn't know the real deal anyway, so what more could you possibly want? He was right. I had never told him about my family. He thought I was just another poor girl, someone who couldn't tell the difference between luxury and imitation, someone who only deserved a counterfeit. Tears I didn't know I was holding back finally fell, a silent stream down my face. The love we once had, so vibrant and real, had been eroded by time. And ambition, leaving nothing but this cheap, worthless trinket. I stood up and threw the fake bracelet into the trash can, a final, definitive end. Then, I saw the casting call. The reality show was looking for a surprise female contestant to join mid-season. I sent in my application. With my credentials, they sent me an invitation almost immediately. When I walked into the villa, the welcoming smiles of the other contestants faded into a backdrop. All I saw was the look of pure shock on Liam's face. He quickly masked it, forcing a polite smile, pretending we were strangers. Isabel recognized me too. A flicker of guilt crossed her eyes before she expertly concealed it. She glided towards me, each step a carefully choreographed movement designed to showcase her elegance. She tucked a stray strand of hair behind her ear, a deliberate gesture to flash the genuine bracelet on her wrist. "Honey," she cooed, her voice sickly sweet, "where did you get your nose done? It looks so natural. What makes you assume it's not real?" I replied, my voice cool and even. "Did you get yours done? Is that how you know?" My words hit their mark. Her face crumpled, and she ran to hide in Liam's arms, her shoulders shaking with crocodile tears. Strangely, Liam didn't seem to notice her distress. His eyes were fixed on my empty wrist, his brow furrowed in a deep frown. My partner on the show was Finn, a younger contestant who was as bright and cheerful as a golden retriever. He was an instant breath of fresh air. I decided then and there that wild daisies were far more interesting than a wilting houseplant. Why hang myself from Liam's crooked branch? Finn and I hit it off immediately, our easy laughter creating a bubble of warmth around us. I didn't notice the look of jealousy and resentment that shadowed Liam's face whenever he looked at us. Later that night, after the cameras were off, he came to my room. "Why aren't you wearing the bracelet I gave you?" he demanded, his eyes blazing with anger. I met his gaze with a polite, detached calm. "Oh, that. I didn't like it, so I threw it away." My indifference, so different from my past reactions, seemed to shatter his composure. The words tumbled out of him, raw and unfiltered. "Why are you here, Chloe? You're my girlfriend. Why are you getting so close to Finn?" "It's just a script, Liam," I said, throwing his own words back in his face. "Why are you taking it so seriously?" "I'm just here to make some money." He was speechless. Before he could recover, I slammed the door in his face. I heard him yelping in the hallway, but I ignored him. The next day's task was for each contestant to write the name of the person they wanted to go on a date with on an invitation card. If two people chose each other, they would win a private date. I wrote Liam's name. It was the last chance I would ever give him. I waited for him on a bench near the university campus where we had first met. The sun beat down, and sweat trickled down my forehead, blurring my vision. I waited and waited, but he never came. Instead, I saw him in the distance, running, a wide smile on his face, in the direction of Isabel. I wanted to call out to him, but my pride wouldn't let me. Once, we had run towards each other on this very campus. Now, he was running away from me. The anger and disappointment churned inside me, making me dizzy. The world began to spin. Just as I thought I would collapse, a pair of strong arms caught me. It was Finn. He helped me into a nearby coffee shop, the blast of cool air conditioning a welcome shock to my system. He fussed over me, fanning my face and making me drink a bottle of water, his gentle concern a poignant echo of the way Liam used to be. Perhaps a puppy dog was a good choice after all. He told me he had written my name on his invitation card. He looked so crestfallen, like a kicked puppy, that I made a decision. With the director's permission, I took out my invitation, crossed out Liam's name, and wrote Finn's in its place. It felt like I was physically erasing Liam from my future. Just then, like a magician, Finn produced a single, perfect rose from his jacket. I raised an eyebrow, surprised and genuinely touched. The boy had skills. My near heatstroke meant we couldn't go on a long date, so we spent the afternoon in the coffee shop, talking for hours. I learned so much about him, and by the time we left, I felt a genuine connection. I was laughing at a story about his childhood when Liam and Isabel walked in. Isabel was glowing, practically draped over Liam, her eyes fixed on me in a blatant act of provocation. "Oh, Liam, honey," she sighed loudly, "today was so amazing. I had the best time." Finn and I exchanged a look of mutual disgust. I let out a short, sharp laugh. "Please, spare us the details of your sex life. We are not a part of your little exhibition." With that, I took Finn's hand and we walked out, leaving Isabel sputtering with rage and Liam staring after us in stunned silence. That evening, as Finn cooked dinner, I watched him with open admiration. Liam, who had once been the sole recipient of that adoring gaze, was visibly furious. He cornered me away from the cameras. "Wipe that look off your face," he hissed. "Don't forget who your boyfriend is. If you don't start acting with a little more decency, we're through." It was his favorite threat. Ever since his career had stalled and he had started staying out all night, any complaint from me was met with the threat of a breakup. The old me, terrified of losing him, would have dissolved into a puddle of tears, begging him to stay. This time I just laughed. "I thought we were already broken up the moment you went on a dating show behind my back. You really think too highly of yourself." He looked at me, utterly flabbergasted, as if he couldn't comprehend my words. Before he could respond, Isabel, green with jealousy, inserted herself between us. She deliberately angled her body so I couldn't avoid seeing the tattoo on her chest, a perfect replica of the firework design from the show Liam had prepared for me. I stared at it. The old me would have been shattered, unable to breathe. Now, I felt a cold, clear certainty. So, they had been together for that long. And I had been the fool, dancing on their strings, believing I was about to marry the love of my life. I met Liam's panicked, threatening gaze and did something no one expected. In front of everyone, I dragged him and Isabel to the center of the room. I took their hands, placed them together, and slammed the perfect match button on the wall. "Since you like her so much," I said, my voice sweet and innocent, my smile wide and full of blessing, "you should have hit the button for her. I'm sure Isabel has been waiting for a very long time." My eyes were devoid of any warmth. These two people were nothing to me now. I turned to leave, but Liam lunged after me. "Chloe, wait. Let me explain about the tattoo." I stopped, my disgust palpable. "If this is some kind of private game between you two, why are you explaining it to me? You should be putting the heartbeat bracelet on Isabel's wrist." I walked away without another word. "Liam, honey." Isabel's voice called out from behind me. "You haven't given me my heartbeat bracelet yet. Come back. Don't you want my family's help?" Liam stopped dead in his tracks. Her words were vague, but the implication was clear. I stopped too. What help could Isabel's family offer? I knew for a fact that they were poor, and her parents favored her brother. Without my family's sponsorship, she wouldn't have even been able to go to college. Just last month, she had come to our house, crying to my parents for more living expenses. I voiced my confusion out loud. My question seemed to push Isabel over the edge. "I am the sole heiress of the Sterling Group," she declared. Her audacity stunned me into silence. Then, the words just fell out of my mouth. "That's strange. I didn't know my dad had another daughter." The statement landed like a thunderclap. Liam's head snapped towards me, his face a canvas of dawning horror. "What does that mean? Isabel isn't the Sterling heiress, you are?" I didn't bother to answer him. I grabbed Finn, who was enjoying the drama immensely, and dragged him back to our room. "If you're that curious," I said, crossing my arms and fixing him with a stare, "you can go next door and get the whole story. I won't stop you." He immediately morphed into a sad puppy. "I'm sorry, Chloe. The gossip isn't worth it if it means leaving you." I thought the drama was over, but some people just don't know when to quit. Liam stood outside our door, shouting my name, his voice thick with a desperate, theatrical regret. Was he regretting our lost love, or the fact that he was one step away from marrying into a fortune and blew it? At this point, he was just an embarrassing ex-boyfriend. I underestimated his shamelessness. He didn't leave. He got louder, disturbing the other contestants and the crew. Finally, under Finn's disapproving gaze, I opened the door. He took my appearance as a sign of surrender. "Why didn't you tell me you were the Sterling heiress?" he pleaded. "I thought it was Isabel. If I had gotten together with her, we could have had a good life together. Can't you see? I was doing it all for our future." Our future? Maybe once. But now, he was only doing it for himself. My mind drifted back to our college days. He had pursued me so relentlessly. He had been so devoted. He once abandoned a meeting with a famous director, a career-making opportunity, because I had a fever and wouldn't let go of his hand. He had spoiled me rotten, turning me into a demanding, helpless girl who would call him off a film set for a common cold. That behavior had made him enemies in the industry. His once promising career had tanked, and I, unable to watch him suffer, had secretly used my family's connections to get him scripts. And then, one day, he started to drift away. He stayed out all night. A friend sent me a photo of him at dinner with Isabel, the two of them laughing intimately. He told me it was for an investment. I confronted Isabel, and she said they were just friends. I was so consumed by my fear of losing him that I believed them. How could a poor scholarship student offer him an investment? It was all so clear now. She had used the Sterling name, a name she only had access to because of my family's charity, to lure him in. But knowing the truth didn't change anything. A shattered mirror can never be made whole again. My connection with Finn deepened. Our on-screen chemistry was so palpable that the producers started giving us more couple activities. We decided to cook a meal together. I rarely cooked, but I was eager to try. I skillfully stir-fried pork belly while Finn passed me seasonings, our movements so synchronized it was as if we had done this 100 times. When the dish was ready, I carefully blew out a piece to cool it before feeding it to him. The air around us crackled with a sweet, gentle energy. From the shadows, Liam watched us, his face a mask of jealousy. I had never cooked for him, not even in the height of our passion. That night, as Finn and I were about to leave for a dinner date, Liam bolted from his room, abandoning Isabel. He ran to the front gate and blocked our path. "Where do you think you're going with him at this hour?" he demanded. Before I could speak, Finn stepped forward, a protective arm around my waist. "On a date," he said coolly. "What we do is none of your business." Liam looked at me, his expression one of profound heartbreak, as if I were the one who had betrayed him. "You should go on a date with the person you chose," I said, my voice flat. "Don't bother us." His face fell. A small, vindictive part of me rejoiced. This was how I had felt every time I had questioned him about his late nights with Isabel. Now it was his turn. Ignoring him, Finn gave him a triumphant smirk and boldly took my hand. I let him, hoping it would finally make Liam back off. To my surprise, the date was wonderful. Finn was charming and funny, and for the first time in a long time I felt cherished. On the way back, I was the one who reached for his hand. He blushed like a schoolboy. In that moment, I knew I was falling for him. How could anyone resist a puppy dog like him? On the final day of the show, when it was time for the final pairing, I let him lead me to the perfect match button. Liam stood off to the side, his face a mask of despair, watching as Finn slipped the heartbeat bracelet onto my wrist. Isabel was clinging to him, preventing him from interfering. I almost had to thank her for that. After the show wrapped, Finn immediately took me to meet his parents. I learned that his family was just as wealthy as mine, that our fathers had even done business together. He had his own successful gaming studio. He was so afraid I would run back to Liam that he had his parents call mine that very night to arrange our engagement. "What's the rush?" I teased, but he was serious. "I can't risk it," he said, his expression earnest. "What if that bastard somehow tricks you into going back to him? His manipulation skills are off the charts." He turned to his parents. "Mom, Dad, hurry up. What if my future wife gets stolen?" Everything moved so quickly, so smoothly. My parents adored Finn. The engagement was set. As soon as we left my parents' house, Finn swept me up into his arms and carried me to the car. "You're mine now," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion, before his lips found mine. His kiss was eager and a little clumsy, full of a raw, desperate passion that made my heart hammer in my chest. Just as things were about to escalate, a frantic knocking on the car window shattered the moment. It was Liam. Finn let out a groan of frustration. He gave me a quick, reassuring kiss on the corner of my mouth before getting out of the car, shutting the door quickly behind him. "Can't you just disappear?" Finn snarled. "A good ex-boyfriend should act like he's dead. You have no shame." Liam ignored him, pressing his face against the window. "Chloe. I waited for you for hours. I bought you another bracelet, the real one this time. I didn't know the other one was fake. Isabel told me the cheap ones were just as good." He trailed off, realizing his mistake. Finn laughed. "A cheap bracelet like that is an insult to Chloe. Stop trying to pretend you're something you're not. You will never be worthy of her." Liam's face flushed with anger. "You can't measure love with money. We were happy when we had nothing. A money-grubbing merchant like you would never understand that." I had heard enough. I rolled down the window. Liam's face lit up with hope. "I have nothing to say to you," I said, my voice cold as ice. "The only reason I was ever with you was because I was blind." I beckoned to Finn to get back in the car. No one cared about Liam's despair. Finn's eyes shone as he slid back into the driver's seat and leaned over, his lips claiming mine again. We only broke apart when the car behind us honked impatiently. That night was ours. The show's finale brought us all back for a reunion special. When the host asked what we'd been up to since the show ended, Finn didn't hesitate. "We've met each other's parents. And we're engaged," he announced, holding up our intertwined hands. "You're all invited to the wedding." After all, if it weren't for this show, I never would have met Chloe. Liam's face went white. He stared at our hands, muttering to himself, "Engaged? How can they be engaged? Chloe is mine. I was supposed to be the one to marry into the Sterling family." His voice was low, but the studio microphones picked up every word. The broadcast was a PR disaster for him and Isabel. The internet dug up everything: their affair, Isabel's fake identity, Liam's history with me. The truth about how Isabel had used her connection to my family to pose as an heiress and ensnare a desperate Liam came to light. My parents immediately cut off all funding to Isabel and filed a lawsuit against her for fraud. The public reaction was explosive. I knew all her designer stuff was fake. Everyone was calling her an heiress and I was too scared to say anything. How dare she lie like that? Liam has to be the dumbest gold digger in history. He treated the fake heiress like a treasure and the real one like trash. Boycott his new movie. Who even watches his movies anymore? Let's all go stan our real-life prince and princess. This is the ship we deserve. Liam disappeared from my life after that. Then, one day, I got a call. Is this Liam's next of kin? He had an accident on set, he fell from a wire. He's in the ICU at First General Hospital. Please come as soon as you can. Finn, who was sitting next to me, snatched the phone and hung up before I could explain they had the wrong number. He was so possessive, so afraid I would have any contact with Liam. I sighed. Is my little puppy always this jealous? It took a lot of coaxing, but he finally agreed to let me go see Liam, on the condition that he came with me. When I saw him, I was shocked. He was a wreck. Unshaven, his eyes vacant, a cloud of despair hanging over him. Both his arms and legs were in casts, suspended in the air. Chloe, he whispered, his eyes lighting up when he saw me. You came to see me. You do still care. I knew we could fix this. He clearly thought my visit was a sign of lingering affection. I broke up with Isabel, he rushed to say. We can start over. I know you miss the old me. I can be that person again. He was living in a fantasy. It wasn't about her, Liam, I said, cutting him off. It was about us. The love between us died a long time ago. We should have ended things then. He refused to accept it. Is it the tattoo? Are you still upset about the tattoo? She did that without my knowledge, I swear. I'll call her right now and make her get it removed. There was no point. I turned to leave. He tried to follow, to plead with me, but his broken legs gave way and he crashed to the floor. Outside the room, I took Finn's hand. He had been shamelessly listening at the door, and when I caught him, he just grinned and brought my hand to his lips for a kiss. I thought that would be the end of it. But I should have known better. Both he and Isabel were more desperate than I could have imagined. Today was my wedding day. The union of our two families was a major social event, and reporters were everywhere. In the middle of the grand, public ceremony, Liam appeared. Dressed like a groom himself, he broke through the security line and ran towards me, his arms outstretched, his face twisted with a manic obsession. He was going to try to kiss me. Finn reacted instantly, a furious growl rumbling in his chest. He kicked Liam hard, sending him sprawling to the ground. Security guards swarmed him, dragging him away as he screamed, his voice filled with a pathetic, wounded entitlement. Chloe, you were supposed to be my wife. Why did you fall in love with someone else? His words were designed to make me look like the cheater. My expression turned to ice. I waved a hand at the guards, and they clamped a hand over his mouth. I must have been cursed to ever have seen this man as a treasure. But with all the security focused on Liam, Isabel saw her chance. Her eyes blazing with a venomous jealousy, she lunged out of the crowd, a fruit knife clutched in her hand, aimed directly at me. Chloe, behind you, someone screamed. I didn't flinch. I calmly picked up a heavy crystal decanter from a nearby table and hurled it at her. My aim was true. It hit her square on the head, and she went down in a heap. The reporters captured everything. Liam's career was officially over. My parents, their faces grim, called the police. Isabel was facing serious jail time. The wedding, so carefully planned, was ruined. I shook my head, a wry smile on my lips. I knew Finn. He would insist on planning another one, even bigger, even more extravagant, as if to announce to the entire world that I was his. I looked over at him. He was still seething, his jaw clenched. I knew I was in for a long night. A jealous puppy is not easily appeased.